Hey, everybody. So, chapter 6, we are getting into what are called proofs. And eventually, what this chapter will get into is proving two triangles are congruent. Okay, before we get into that, though, we're just going to practice a simple type of proof. And that is what today's all about. And they're going to be algebra proofs. All right. A big part of proofs is giving reasons for every step you take along the proof. And for our reasons today, while we do our algebra, here they are listed. We have the addition property, subtraction property, multiplication property, division property, distributive property, and combining like terms. All right, I'm going to have you guys copy this on a separate piece of paper. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and take a second to get these, and then we'll get into actually doing the proofs. Okay, so let's just take a look. If you guys look at number 1 on our piece of paper, I guess the directions, they say solve the equation and give the statements and reasons for each step. Okay, on this problem, both things are given to us. Okay, so this whole example is done for us, but it's a good idea, or it's a good way to get an idea of what these proofs look like. All right, so here's how these are going to start. They're going to start with a statement. All right, they're going to give you some information. All right, on this one, they're saying that 5x minus 10 equals 40. All right, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to have to give a reason for each one of those steps. Okay, here's kind of the thing to remember. This first statement, the reason for it will always be given. All right, this is given information. That's where it's coming from. That's the reason it exists. All right, from here, we have to see, what steps are we taking to get to the next line? All right, so if you guys, simple two-step equation, you guys know the first thing we would do here is get rid of this minus 10 by adding 10 to both sides, right? So go ahead and write this in on your paper, the plus 10s. Okay, and these would cancel. We would get 5x equals 50. The next thing we would have to do is give a reason for why 5x equals 50. Okay, well, what did we do? We added a number to both sides of our equation. All right, and that is what is called the addition property. Okay, so that's kind of the order of the work here. And then you can see, moving on to the next one, then the last step here, solving for x, we would get rid of 5 by dividing 5 from both sides, and we would get that x equals 10. Why do we know that? Because we use the division property. Okay, so it's a little weird because if you notice, division property is written on this line, though when we did the division, it was on the previous statement. All right, so the way to kind of think of it is like we do this, we write the next step, and then we give the reason why we went from here to here. All right, so that's kind of the flow of these proofs. The math hopefully isn't going to be too difficult. It's just getting used to writing reasons and seeing the process here. Okay, so let's try one that is kind of asking us for all of the reasons. Okay, take a look at number 2. Okay, so first things first, here is our given statement, all right, our given equation. Why do we know that? It's because it's literally given to us. All right, so there's our first reason. Okay, so from here, I would notice variables on both sides. So I would get them to the same side. I'm going to add 3x, okay, to get rid of this minus 3x, and that means I have to also do to this side. All right, and here's what maybe I recommend. I just noticed I added a number to both sides of my equation. I know that my very next reason is going to be addition property. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump to that and say, okay, I know I just used the addition property. Okay, we can just shorten property to prop. All right, now let's see what we get here. 4x, 3x, we got a 7x. Okay, and then bringing down the 9. All right, I'm not going to go terribly slow on this algebra. On the right side, looks like we have a 19. Okay, from here, looks like we can now start solving for x. We need to get rid of this plus 9 by subtracting 9 from both sides. Okay, real quick, I just realized I subtracted a number from both sides of the equation. That is the subtraction property. All right. So let's see what we get. So nines are gone. I have a 7x on the left. On the right, 19 minus 9, I got a 10. All right. And last step, getting rid of 7. I know it's being multiplied, so I'm going to divide both sides. Okay, real quick, just realized I divided a number from both sides. As you might expect, that is called the division property. Okay, and ultimately those would cancel and I would get x equals 10 divided by 7. We're just going to leave it as a fraction. I'm not too worried about that. Today, it's less about the algebra and more about using the reasons. Okay, so yeah, nothing too shabby. Let's try another one before I have you guys try one out. Take a look at number 3. All right, so first things first, here is my statement. Why does this exist? Because it is given. All right, first thing I noticed on this problem, I would distribute the 5 into the parentheses. All right, before I write out this next step, I could write the next step first and then give the reason, but I like to realize, all right, I just distributed. I used the distributive property. Okay, so let's go ahead and write our reason here. So distributive property. All right, and now let's do that distribution. So 5 times 3x gives me a 15x. Okay, 5 times negative 20 gives me a negative 100. And I have a negative 10 on the right. All right, and okay, so now I can start solving for x. We know we need to get rid of this minus 100 by doing the opposite, adding 100. Okay, must do it to both sides. All right, I just use the addition property, so that is my next reason. Okay, on the left here, so we got a 15x. Over on the right, negative 10 plus 100 gives me 90. All right, last step, getting rid of 15. It's being multiplied, so we know we're going to divide. Okay, we just used the division property, so there's my final reason. All right, so yeah, 15s are gone. I got x equals, let's see, 90 divided by 15 gives me 6. Okay, and that's kind of the process today. Yeah, so I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and try out one of these problems. Okay, number 4. All right, go ahead and start with getting your first reason. Remember, it's always that we have a given statement, and then go from there step by step, writing your reason as you make your way. Okay, so try it out. Alrighty, so yeah, there's my statement. The reason exists because it is given to us. All right, first thing on this problem, I got variables on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and take this 3x and subtract it to the left. Just a reminder, we could also subtract 7x from both sides. If you did that, your reasons are actually going to be different as you go down the line. But that's okay as long as you're doing your math correctly. All right, so I subtracted a number from both sides. So I'm going to start by my next reason. I use the subtraction property. All right, so 7x minus 3x, I got a 4x. Bring down the minus 12. Over on the right, looks like I got a 24. All right, from here, now we can start solving for x. We'll get rid of this minus 12 by adding 12. All right, I just added a number to both sides. I used the addition property. Okay, so let's see. 12s are gone. I have a 4x equals 36. Last thing, getting rid of 4. It's being multiplied, so we're going to divide. All right, we just used the division property, so that's our next reason. All right, and it looks like, well, we're going to get x equals 9. Okay, so yeah, that's the process. Some of these problems just get a little bit more tricky like algebra wise and a little longer. But if this makes sense, this is the process today, and kind of the process in the future. In the future, we won't be focusing on algebra. We'll be focusing on triangles and using our triangle congruence theorems we've been learning as our reasons. But we'll get to that eventually. Okay, so I do have a couple more I want to show. So let's get past number 5 and 6, and I'm gonna have you guys try one more problem before we get into another one. Go ahead and take a look at number 7 here. All right. Starting with your first reason, just want to point out when you go to do, I'll just have you try it out. Okay, give it a try, and then I'll point out what I was going to say. Okay, so we got our statement. Why? It's been given. All right, from here, hopefully you notice, okay, we got some distribution. I'm going to distribute the 4 and the -2. What I was going to point out before was that I'm going to do both, distribution. I'm going to distribute both of these numbers on the same step. So I don't need to do them separately because it's the same, I guess, property being used. So yeah, let's go ahead and just realize we got the distributive property. All right, and yeah, let's see what we got here. So we got a 20x minus 36 equals -2x minus 14. All right, next thing I notice, variables on both sides. I'm going to get them to the same side. Here's the thing. If I want to get, the 2x over to that side, I would add 2x. All right, and that's what I'm going to do. I would use the addition property. If I move the 20x, I would get rid of it by subtracting. I would have used the subtraction property. Okay, depending on where you go from here, your reasons might be slightly different. Okay, but I'm going to get rid of the 2x by adding, or then get rid of the -2x by adding 2x to both sides. All right, so I'm using the addition property. All right, so let's see. We got a 22x, bring down the -36. 2x's are gone. I got a -14 over here. All right, and from here we can start solving for x. So I'm going to get rid of this -36 by doing the opposite, adding 36 to both sides. All right, I just used the addition property again. All right, so it looks like those are gone. I got a 22x equals, looks like 22. So working out nice here. All right, last thing, now I can get rid of 22 that's being multiplied. So I will divide. Okay, so I use the division property. All right, and yeah, looks like x equals 1. Okay, so yeah, let's try a couple problems that just kind of get weirder numbers. So let's take a look at number 8 here, and then we'll try another. Actually, I think I'm going to skip past number 8. The reason why, I think this was supposed to be the example I did before the last problem. All right, so I'll leave number 8 to you. All right, but let's jump down and let's look at the other page. So go ahead and flip your page over and take a look at these problems that are asking us to solve, the problems using a 2-column proof. Okay, just by the way, that's what we've been doing. These are 2-column proofs. We have this column, we have this column. All right, so basically it's asking us to do the same thing we've been doing. The only difference on these is they are not giving us the statement and the reasons. All right, so basically we're just doing the whole process without them providing us a column. Okay, so let's take a look at number 14 because this is definitely the weirdest one. Right, so here's what I would recommend doing. You guys have more space in between your problems than I'm showing right here. But if I were doing this, just to make it easy on myself, I would know that this is going to be my statement and I'm going to do all of my steps. And then to the right, I'm going to give all of my reasons. So what I'm going to do is something like this. All right, I'm going to make my 2 columns like that. All right, so these are going to be my statements. These are going to be my reasons over here. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and do it. This first, statement, why do we know it? Why does it exist? Because it is given. All right. And actually something I would like you to do, let's write that this is, the statement column. Okay. So that's my statement. All right. And this is my reason column. Okay, so yeah, we have our given statement. Next thing I notice we have some distribution. So I'm going to distribute that 1/2 and distribute this 2/3. All right, before I do anything though, let's realize we just used the distributive property. Okay, I'm going to shorten this thing to, let's see, how about that? Distributive property. You can do that as well if you'd like. All right, something else, just to keep it looking nice, let's separate all of these rows by lines, just to make sure this thing looks pretty good as we make our way down. Okay, so yeah, let's do this math. This is maybe the only reason this problem's a little strange. Here's the nice thing about this. Multiplying by 1/2, that's just taking half of these numbers. These are even numbers. We can do this in our head. Half of 8x is going to give me a 4x. Half of -12 is going to give me a -6. Okay, 2/3 times a number. Let me just remind you, when we're multiplying a fraction times, a nice integer, a non-fraction, basically what we do is we multiply this number times the numerator divided by the denominator. All right, so really the math that I'm doing here is 3 times 2, which is 6. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. So I'm getting a 2x. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to multiply 6 times 2, which is 12. 12 divided by 3 gives me +4. Okay, and now the fractions are gone, and we can go from here. All right, so let's see. Next thing I would do is variables on both sides. I'm going to choose to get rid of this 2x, subtracting it from both sides. Okay, I just used this subtraction property. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and write my next reason. You know what I don't love? I want to kind of put this line like that. Yeah, that looks nicer to me. All right, so yeah, subtraction property. I'm going to shorten it to just sub property. All right, I'll give myself some room on this one. All right, so yeah, 4x minus 2x, we got a 2x. Bring down the -6. 2x's are gone, I got a 4. And now, two-step equation, we'll get rid of 6 first by adding 6 to both sides. Okay, I just added a number to both sides, so I know my next reason is going to be the addition property. I'm going to extend this line here. All right, and yeah, let's see. 6's are gone. I have a 2x on the left and a 10 on the right. And again, I'm going to give myself some room here. And last thing, I can get rid of 2. It's being multiplied by x, so I'm going to divide. That means the last reason I have is I use the division property. I'm trying to think how I want to shorten this. I guess we can do div. That works, division property. All right, so yeah, we're getting x equals 5. All right, so wait, let me see for a second. I passed over 8, and now I remember why I wanted to do this. Okay, I'm not going to do this whole thing, but I do want to get you started on number 8 because it uses one of our reasons that we have not used on any other problem. All right, so yeah, let's get started on this, and then maybe from here I'll let you guys take off and try some of these on your own. All right, so first things first, there's my statement, the reason why it's been given. All right, from here, I notice we have some distribution. Okay, so I'm just going to distribute the 3. That's, all I can do on this step. So I'm using the distributive property. All right, so it looks like we're getting a 21x minus 27, bringing down this minus 19x equals -15. Okay, so here's, kind of why I wanted to do this one. If you guys notice the next step, we have variables, but they are on the same side of my equal sign. Okay, be really careful. It'd be super tempting to just like, oh, the minus 19x, I'm going to add 19x to both sides. No, they're on the same side. I'm going to combine them together. All right. So, yeah, I guess that kind of points out my next reasoning. I'm going to be combining these like terms. All right. So that is going to be my reason. So let's jump over to that real quick. Let's do that first. All right. Combine like terms. Okay. So yeah, 21x minus 19x is what I'm doing here. And it looks like that's going to give me a 2x. All right. So that's only the kind of the tricky thing. You might be wondering, wait, Mr. Stone, we subtracted these numbers. Didn't we use the subtraction property? No, the subtraction property is when you subtract a number from both sides of the equal sign. Okay. And we're not doing that on this problem. All we're doing is combining these like terms. All right. So that's what's a little weird about this. So, from here, we'd bring down the minus 27 equals negative 15. Okay. And from here, I'll let you guys finish this one, solving for x, get rid of this minus 27. Okay. So go ahead and finish up number 8 here. The rest of the problems on this are, the assignment for the day. So try them out. If you have any questions, let me know. All right. I'll see you.